They kicked our ass, so we figured those guys would be pretty good teammates. That was the beginning. That's what started it all.
Our goal was, to have a podium sweep at every meet. When we did, it was like the pinnacle moment. The nature of swooping is it's individual, it's solo. And I remember as we met with PD about switching it from four-way to canopy piloting, we actually had conversations about it being a more individual sport, and how we wanted to try to consciously use the values, the strengths that come from working in a team to bolster the individual outcomes.
What was great about the two subsets of members we had was Shannon and I came from this formation skydiving background. So relatively structured, more orderly, let's create a system of doing things. And then we had Jay and Heath that were from the freestyle, free fly world. And they were just more free thinkers, and when we combine those two elements with people that could really communicate well and work as a team, we developed a system that thought outside the box. And that's why I think the teamwork element of the factory team was such a strong thing. And we feed off each other, if somebody was doing something that was working in individual, we would be like training with each other. So we'd start talking, and this collaborative effort of improving each other fed on each other. And the whole thing just started getting stronger and stronger. And everybody was really able to work together to push new ground. The early era of the Pro Swooping Tour had each of the factory teams kind of going against each other. First we would compete as individuals at the competition, and then we would combine into two-way teams, and then those teams would combine into four-way teams in some instances, and the scoring would be kind of culminated. So it was a great way to showcase the fact that we had all these amazing pilots as individual pilots, but the teamwork element of it and working together to try and solve a problem or to do a turn or execute a course run together was really where the factory team started to shine, in my opinion. Airspeed for years, which was probably the best known team of the era, even though it was a formation skydiving team, they had all these guys with tens of thousands of jumps, and they always land together doing a nice little 90, nice tight little formation. They still do it today very, very well. But the factory team, we wanted to take it up a notch, so we wanted to kind of be more like a Blue Angel style of exhibition. So we took it upon ourselves to do the first major big turns with large groups, 4 or 5 of us.
As we started the factory team, we would travel around the world, around the country and the world, doing educational camps, competing, all of these things. And we kind of had an internal mission.
Before we'd do anything individually, we'd go up and do a 4-way together at the drop zone, whether we were visiting at the competition. And it was a little bit of a psychology thing, like, hey, we're here, rip the 4-way in over the landing area, and then go about our business doing whatever we were there for.
Some of my best memories are just the drop zone owners would let us do what jumpers are normally not allowed to do, like swooping through the buildings or behind the fence line or whatever it is, in order to allow us to put on our show.
When PD Factory Team decided that we were going to do formation flying, team flying, as one of our signature skill sets, something that we were going to become known for, that we were going to be recognized through, to say we're going to develop a performance that people will clap when we land, because they're going to be like wowed by the performance. I didn't necessarily always like doing team training because it meant flying at a much more reserved level. I wanted to move at my speed, which is full speed. I want to go fast all the time, just full throttle. And it's an incredible thing to do. It's nerve-wracking, it's dangerous, it requires a lot of preparation, a lot of skill, a lot of practice, a lot of trust. And it can go really wrong really, really fast. We nearly died a number of times. Ian and I almost took each other out one time, I'll never forget. Just a tiny misjudgment, and all of a sudden there's parachute all around, there's lines all around, there's somebody's head right here, and you're not supposed to be that close to each other while you're a couple hundred feet off the ground in the middle of recovery. You know, things can get really sketchy.
The team flying became this strength within the strength that provided the confidence in each other, the teamwork, and then the showcasing. And that just, once we developed some confidence flying together, we were able to start doing new things, crisscrosses, and taking it into public venues and demos and things of that nature.
The team landings, we can use that skill in demo jumps. And that skill, it's something that requires a lot of training and practice too. You know, like nowadays, there is just a very few teams in the world that really have the ability and skill to deliver that product on every single jump, you know, like get out of the plane, get together, fly a pattern, get to the landing area, throw down, be safe, be synchronized, and just give a good show, you know.
To be able to perform, you know, with a group and land in formation, makes you kind of feel like Blue Angels or you know, any professional flight team that has put hours and hours of time, you know, behind the stick or in the saddle, so to speak, working together. So.
I think in the end, learning what comes along with being a part of a team, moving as a unit, understanding when to push, when to pull, when to make the move before the other person does or read their mind, or when to give a nice, slow, clean, obvious signal to everybody so they can read your mind. Those things are huge, man. They've given me a lot in life. I'm very grateful for that experience. Over the years, as a PD Factory team member, we had lots of opportunities to do demos. A wide variety of locations, circumstances, different types of events.
There was a couple of them. There was one that went really, really well, and that's why I remember it with a lot of positive energy. You know, it was a demo we did actually on Bill Booth's backyard. Like we did a nice two-way landing with Tommy Daly back. We souped the water, and the landing area was really small and really tight, and we just landed on it, on that backyard little garden. That was during a Skydive Expo, so a lot of good friends were surrounding it and just cheering, and that was a really good moment.
One of the ones that definitely sticks out to me the most was some of the jumps that we did into the Oceana Naval Air Show in Virginia. It was JC Colclaser and Jonathan Tagle that I was jumping with on that particular demo. And we were doing head-to-head swoops, we call a splitter. Two people coming from one way, one person coming from the other way, going through the middle. We were doing them on the flight line, directly in front of the crowd, directly in front of all the Blue Angels jets. On one of the jumps, we were jumping at night, and we had these flares, and they have an electronic fire. So you're flying behind the person I was following Jonathan, he was leading, and we would turn onto a base leg of our pattern and we would ignite our flares so the crowd could see them. They burn for about 30 seconds. And little do we know that when you light a flare and you're 30 feet behind a parachute in front of you, all you see is just fireworks. You can't see the parachute anymore. It's total darkness. All of a sudden it's just boosh, just bright flare in my face. I lit my flare and I'm like, well, now I can't see anything at all. My night vision's gone. All I see is this blazing fireworks in front of me. I'm like, just stay right above the fire. If I just stay right above the fire the whole time, I know I'm right behind Jonathan, you know? And just follow that fire all the way through. And I never saw the ground, I never saw the crowd, I never saw the jets. You can't see anything. There's this blast of fire coming towards you the whole time. So just stay behind the fire, everything's gonna be good. It's crazy.
So probably one of the best team flying experience I ever can remember was It was actually in Dubai, and we had this world champion acrobatic pilot named Zoltan.
For like 5 nights in a row, we choreographed our demo with him flying around and through the formations we were doing. And when you're doing team flying, it's like the Blue Angels, I would imagine. Like if I'm in the second or third slot at canopies, my job is to look at the lead. And we've learned, like, as you start to glance around, that creates ripples in the formation because you move whether you mean to or not. So our job was to keep our eye on the lead, where we are, keep that position. But meanwhile, we've got this guy with smoke, you know, doing barrel rolls around us, and everything in you wants to like look and follow him as he's doing this stuff, but you're just picking it up peripherally, and that's like that demands a sense of trust in a dude that you don't know. You know what I mean? So all of that just evokes this like, wow, this amazing memory for sure.
Like we had this 4-way line coming across the palm there, and we're like 1,500 feet, and he's still like looping around us like this. And we landed, and we were like, it was a great practice jump, but we had to tell him, okay, you need to back off a little bit. When we get below 2,000 feet, yeah, it was a kind of a great team flying memory.
I think the idea behind the stunt work and transfers from in-flight under a parachute to a moving vehicle, that's just natural. Watching James Bond movies and watching different movies, thinking, man, that'd be neat to explore that or feel that or try something like that in a safe environment. And so that's where that came from. I think just watching old movies and just seeing Hollywood stunts and stuff. And I mean, I think all of us have a little bit of a showboat in us, and maybe some more than others. Some of the original stunts that we did were simply trying to stay next to the shoreline with a jet ski, try to time up and see how long we had of a working window. Once we realized how realistic it could be, we kind of jumped from the jet ski, a single person platform, to a bigger boat, and so that's kind of where we started with the PD Factory team. But we've also had a chance to land on the back of some of our team members have landed on the back of four-wheelers and motorcycles. So
my teammate Julien Guillot and I, a few years ago, we were talking to each other and we were saying, man, it would be amazing if with a skydiving canopy we could actually get flat ground level, maybe just touch the ground for a second, just to prove that, hey, the canopy is flat and level, and then throw a barrel and then land on your feet and take a few steps or run, or that was our dream, We tried to go in that direction a little bit, and we talked to Skydive Dubai to see if they were willing to give us some support, and they did. So we did a bunch of training jumps over the water. We were coming in hot after a turn, touching the water, climbing up, and then throwing the barrel. After the barrel, we get underneath the wing, vertical, body underneath the nose, center sail, but with a lot of downwards force. So we never tried this over the ground. We never did, and we will never do. It's not gonna work, and it's just too dangerous, too risky. So it was really fun to do it over the water. It was a great opportunity to do something different, something new. The visuals were insane. There was one jump where we got flat and level together on the water, and as he did his barrel, I kept flying straight, and we were able to do almost like a topspin to topspin as we were flying across the water, and then he finished the barrel and hit the water after that. So it was awesome. It was really fun.
What I really love and what we're doing here in Norway, what we did in Sebastian last year, is flying in a group and really learning how to work together so that you can make it more and more precise. So I think of it like the Blue Angels of parachutes. That's the kind of the pride that I try to have when we're in the moment.
For the last few years, the tendency in our sport is to just get amazing shots with a lot of risk and a lot of danger involved. and that's not our philosophy anymore. You know, like for us as a team, all we want to do is just create. We want to create beauty, man. You know, we want to create beauty. We want to add elements that help us to create that beauty, like smoke, nice, good-looking canopies. You know, like flying together as a team, flying very synchronized with our parachutes, like flying with a lot of dynamic moves.
The backdrops are amazing. The visuals are a perfect venue for this kind of stuff. The dynamic team flying that is now kind of our current mode of operation is super fun to bring, and it's cool to bring the band back together, so to speak, of the guys that have been doing it for years, because there's so much stuff that we don't have to think about. We've just been doing it for so long. We've got our host here, Bjorn, who's kind of leading things, and then we've got all this experience backing him up, doing the moves, and he's stepping up to the challenge, so it's really good.